spins, goes to Suarez, one, back to first, got a double play! Wow, what a play! That's the ball game. Reds win it 7-6, a game-ending 4-6-3 double play.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of Late Night Red Talk here on the Locker Room app. A little bit of housekeeping first. If you have seen, we do have a Twitter account now, but I guess using the name Late Night Red Talk wasn't allowed, so you can follow us at Late Reds. And yes, we are on Spotify if you aren't catching us on the regular weekly show here on Locker Room, like Max is, of course. What's up, Max?
Max, what's happening?
We'll go ahead and get the panel in here, starting first with this man. This man once struck out Alex Rodriguez at Yankee Stadium, Mr. Carlos Guevara.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Do you remember that, by the way?
Absolutely.
I bet you do.
How do I not have a clip? How do I not have a clip of this? I need a clip of this.
I'll send you a video from my iPhone.
There you go.
I'll record it on the TV. I don't know how to do anything else.
Oh, we got to get this up on the interweb. Well,
yeah, absolutely. And, of course, Mr. God bless his Twitter mentions tonight after a tough loss to the Giants. Mr. Reds Positivity himself, my good friend Nick Kirby. Nick, I normally envy you with the Reds fan base that you get touch base with, but tonight is the night I'm glad I'm not you.
Yeah, not fun. Yeah, tough week for the Reds. Yeah, just not fun. Not fun.
No, it's not. Well, here's the good news, folks. So after tomorrow's game, the Reds don't see an NL West opponent for 2 weeks. They will have a home series against the Rockies, who they just split 2 with. And that same week, they go to San Diego for a 4-game set for Father's Day weekend. And come home later that week for the Padres. Why I'm bringing up the NL West specifically? Because the Reds are 11-8 against the rest of the major leagues, but the NL West, they are now 6. Obviously, there is a lot of problems with this team right now between the injuries, not having Votto, not having Moustakas. I don't necessarily understand the Moustakas thing. Like, he's coming in for pinch hits, he'll walk, and then, but, whatever. It is what it is. I'm not David Bell. And, we had these issues at the beginning of the year with the bullpen. You're starting to see the bullpen be pretty good, minus Carson Fulmer tonight. And the rotation is the one that's kind of slipping. Miley was good tonight. I know he only went 4 2/3, but I thought he pitched all right. So, once again, Buster Posey comes in the Great American Ballpark and has a game-winning hit. And I'm just at the point, like I told Carlos before we started, that I think we need to find a way for Buster Posey's luggage to get stuck in customs on his way to Cincinnati, or his plane ticket just doesn't work. Just some way that we don't allow him into the city. It's just got to happen. So, guys, Carlos, Nick, whoever wants to start first, when you look at where things are for this team right now, obviously not ideal, but, the positive news is they're 4.5 out. Even though they are close to last and they're first, obviously, they are on a 3-game losing streak against a very good Giants team who's winning the NL West right now. But right now, certainly frustrating to watch this team with all the injuries and all the problems they're having.
Yeah, it's, I was asked, the key before the season, it was, health. And right now the Reds aren't healthy. I mean, they have 3 starting position players out, and it shows. I mean, there's too many holes in the lineup. You get past Winker, Castellanos, and Tyler Naquin are guy I love, but he was a minor league contract guy. When you get past those 3, and Suarez, if he's right, I mean, it's not a good lineup. And there's too many holes. It's just, you can't win consistently when you have, multiple, bad hitters in the lineup. So, I mean, there's a lot to like about this team. The pitching's, I think, starting pitching's good, and Luis Castillo had a great start last night. I'm sure we'll get into that more. It was a great start. I won't listen to anyone say anything other than it was a great start and a great step in the right direction. The bullpen's not been terrible. They've been manageable. And you have, your best hitters are hitting really well outside of Suarez for most of the year. It's just you've had some guys hurt, and that hurts. But it's a long season, a lot of games left. Thank God it's not a 60-game season. I know the Cardinals right now look like juggernauts, but I promise you they're not this good.
All right.
They're going to have injuries at some point too. So,
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, Nick hit it best by saying it's a long season. Long way to go. It sucks losing, 3 in a row to the Giants. The Giants won't be in the top 2 in their division. I mean, I think they're an okay team, but we can't. Be losing 3 in a row to them. It really sucks. I don't know. Tonight didn't sit very well. I don't really know what Bell was doing with the bullpen there at the end. It didn't make sense. He was using his number one guys to come out to hold that, 1-run deficit, and then in the 9th inning, don't use TJ. I don't know. I thought that was a perfect time to use him with who they had coming up on the bottom half of the 9th. It just kind of felt like we're just hoping for the best. But the bullpen is coming around. Amir throwing well. I feel almost it makes everybody else throw well.
Yeah.
Starting pitching, I'm not complaining about that, and it's it's health. These guys will get back here soon in the next week or so, and hopefully Joey's in within the next week or two, and get this thing rolling again.
Okay, yeah, I definitely agree because I know, people are putting stuff out about Jeff Hoffman. Obviously, he hasn't been very good his last 3 or 4 starts. And, the other thing that people are saying is that, not to name names because I do respect the person who tweeted this, is that a lot of people react to it. A lot of people are saying that if Jeff Hoffman pitches, it starts another game for the Reds, they're not serious about winning. And I see the point, but also it's like, with the injuries they have, it's not like they have a whole lot of options. I know everyone thinks Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green will probably be better right now than what we're getting from Jeff Hoffman, and I understand the excitement for those guys, but there's a reason they're still in Double-A right now. I think if the Reds felt like they could help this team win right now, they would. They would be on the Major League roster. So, yeah, it's definitely frustrating. Like you said, Carlos, health is obviously a big part. I'm curious to see what this rotation looks like when Michael Lorenzen comes back, obviously. And like you said, Joey and whatever the hell's going on with Moose. And then you get all these guys back, see what this team can be. And, like Nick said, I know the Cardinals are winning a lot of games right now, but we've seen the lineups next to each other when healthy. And it's the Reds, I feel like the Reds still have a better lineup than them. It's just a matter of getting everyone back and getting them healthy and getting things right. I like Tyler Stevenson playing first today. I know he had an error, but I think he played pretty well, honestly. I think he covered the bag well. He got a really nice hit. So I don't know, man. It's definitely disheartening. But that was game 38 of the year. Maybe we still got a lot of baseball to go.
Yeah.
Tell you what did suck was watching Disco yesterday just pitch lights out against us.
Yeah, $6 million for a starting pitcher of his caliber is a heck of a bargain, for the Giants. That's the one that stung for me this offseason the most, because that just felt like the cheapest move. Like Bauer is not a move, any team other than the Dodgers or Yankees or, a couple other teams are going to make. No one else is going to sign her to that kind of money. Some of the other moves, like Archie Bradley, he's been on the injured list all year for the Phillies. Anthony DeSclafani, man, you probably could have had him for a great bargain, and you knew what he was. But, 8 bad starts last year, and that one really stings because he would be a massive upgrade over Jeff Hoffman. I don't definitively think that you can say that anyone else in the Reds organization would be an upgrade over Jeff Hoffman outside of TJ Antone. But, the same people who want Jeff Hoffman out of the rotation are the same ones mad that TJ Anto's not pitching the ninth inning. Like, I don't know how you can have it both ways. Like, he can't pitch both, So clearly he's valuable to the bullpen. So, if it's August and Jeff Hoffman is still Jeff Hoffman and he's still in the rotation and there's 3 or 4 guys, at the AAA level, that are clearly ready, then yeah, the Reds aren't serious about winning. But I don't think right now you can just definitively say that any of these other guys, you put them up there, they'll be better, because you don't know what these guys will do, at the MLB level, especially guys who didn't play in a minor league season last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, before we can move on topics, Max, Aaron, Sam, John, welcome. If you guys have any questions, feel free to send them our way. We're happy to answer them throughout the episode. So by all means, we're glad you guys are with us. Maybe you're just doing Festivus with us for all the Seinfeld fans out there. This is our Reds Festivus where we air our grievances. But I think that you guys both hit a lot of good points on the head. Because, when you want to look at the good things about this team, and there are good things, like Nick said, this lineup on paper, there's a lot to be excited about. I don't know if there's a better 1-2 in the top of your order in baseball right now than what the Reds have, with what Winker and Castellanos are doing. And then we do have, a lot of that stuff going on with the fans kind of seeing that, but also being upset after everything after. And I get that. You have right now this question in the chat from Go Reds. Am I pessimistic for thinking this team is just going to hover around 500 all season? Potentially, but also being around 500 all season might win the Central the way the Central's set up right now.
I think when we had our season preview show, I think we thought there was 4 teams in the NL Central that were going to hover around 500 this year. So yeah, as long as the Reds stay within 500, obviously 3 unders, that you're starting to trend into some I don't know, maybe kind of scary territory. But I think if the Reds hover around 500 most of the year, I think they'll be set up in a decent spot. And I know I don't want to repeat things that we've said over and over, but you look at the Reds' schedule in September, and if the Reds are within striking distance, they have a very favorable schedule. And it even gets more so down the stretch if the Cubs are sellers at the deadline. The Reds could have a very, very favorable second half schedule. So, I think, maybe I don't know if it's pessimistic. I think it's probably more realistic, but I don't think it's the end of the world if the Reds do hang around 500, because I think that could get them into the playoffs. And, the Giants are the perfect example. That team won 3 World Series. And that team was clearly none of those years the most talented team in baseball. Probably not even close most of those years. Just get to the playoffs. The Reds have the starting pitching. You never know what can happen.
All right. We got Sam who's wanting to come speak with us. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Sam, what's up, man?
Hey, man. First of all, I just want to say appreciate you guys for staying optimistic. 'Cause I just think looking at our schedule, like you said, and I don't think we've scratched the surface of how we can really play. I think there's no way we make the playoffs. And I just want a question for you guys. Why is Nick Castellanos not getting more attention at the national level for the MVP race?
That's a great question.
I'm doing my part. I tweeted out earlier today his stats. I think if it gets later in the year, I think he will. It is only May 19th, but if it's, July and he's still putting up these numbers, he leads the National League in OPS right now. If he's still doing that, then I definitely think he'll get more attention. I guess it's probably just because it's early. Maybe unfairly, he did fade at the end of last year. So, maybe that has something to do with it, but I wouldn't worry about that too much until it's July and he's not getting attention if he's still, one of the top players in the league. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think if he keeps, playing the way that he's playing, and I think once we start getting some all-star votes, that then those conversations are going to be, Nick is a surefire, all-star. He might even be starting, and then the conversation of NL MVP, AL MVP, that's whenever those start. And I think that's whenever his name will be dropped in there amongst them as kind of a sleeper, because they are playing in Cincinnati.
Yeah, he's actually never been an All-Star, so
Isn't that crazy?
yeah, I think that would be a pretty big deal, and that's kind of, I think, could be one of those like big moments where, oh, Nick Castellanos is starting in right field in the All-Star game. Okay, yeah, maybe he is legit. Kind of one of those I don't know, things that put you over the top. It's a good question, though.
I was actually going to ask that too. If he maintains numbers and just happens to keep killing it like he is, do you think never being an All-Star is going to hinder his opportunity at starting the All-Star game or getting that MVP?
Kirk Gibson won an MVP and he didn't play in an All-Star game.
No, I did not know that. That's a great fact, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think fans now in the fan vote are way smarter than they were maybe 10 years ago, maybe when I was a kid. I feel like there's been a lot of All-Star games the last, 5 or 6 years where there's been players that aren't popular players that are just having a monster year that get voted in. I think the fans are a lot smarter than they used to be. So I think if he's still, I think next month is probably when they really start hammering, and advertising the vote and all that. I think if he's still doing that, I think there's a really good chance he gets voted in. I think he's kind of a folk hero among some of the baseball people, even outside of Cincinnati, for kind of his demeanor and his stare down and all that. So I think he's kind of an easy guy to campaign for. Because he's the anti-Rob Manfred, and people love that. People eat that up. So, yeah, I think he's got a shot. I think he keeps putting up the numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Hey, you all have a great night. Reds by 40 tomorrow. Thank you.
Hey,
Let's
Sam.
go.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Shoot us a DM on Twitter. You're the first guest we've had to call in, so I'll send you some Reds baseball cards.
Hey, for sure. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, definitely, man.
You all have a great night.
You too,
I want
man.
some Reds baseball cards.
Yeah, what the heck, man?
Your face is on Reds baseball cards. I eBayed Carlos's rookie card. I told him that the other day, but it felt weird buying it when we worked together. So, and honestly, I don't know. Do you still get royalties for those anymore?
No.
See, then I can't do it. I got to make sure I give you props, and I can't. If I don't put money in your pocket, I can't do it.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's kind of go real quick. I know Carlos kind of mentioned yesterday, there's so much stuff going on in baseball right now. Let's get to Aaron's question also. He said, if by the trade deadline we are 500, who do you think we target, or at least what position do you think we target?
It better be a shortstop, right?
Yeah, it's got to be shortstop.
God almighty, it better be a shortstop.
I definitely think it's a shortstop. I don't know if it'll be Trevor Story. Willy Adames seems like a real more legitimate target just because the Rays are looking at calling him up. So yeah, I think there'll be options at the deadline. I would assume that, and then probably it'll be obvious like every other team, bullpen help. But yeah, I don't really think anywhere other than that makes sense for the Reds, because if the Reds need any other positions, then they probably don't have a chance, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
If the Reds need a left fielder, they're probably not buyers.
Yeah, I bet there's going to be a whole bunch of relievers that are going to be moved around because nobody really has an elite bullpen. Even the top teams, there's, you have a couple, one or two, but to have from the 6, 7, 8, 9 type of bullpen, there's not any that I know of that are around there, and I feel like relievers are going to move around a lot here at the before the trade deadline hits.
Yeah,
the entire Pirates bullpen will probably be moved at the deadline. They have a pretty decent bullpen.
How have we not talked about how the Reds got Michael Feliz for nothing?
Yeah. So I don't know if anyone. I tweeted out a link to a Pittsburgh story that kind of explained it. It was just kind of an odd man out type thing where they really wanted to pick up Ben Gamel off waivers, and they had no room on their 40-man roster. And so they had to basically get rid of someone. And Feliz made the most sense because he's in the final year of arbitration next year. He'll cost a little bit more. All the other guys they have are really young, lots of years of control left. So it's more just because, he's not going to be a part of the next decent Pirates team, whenever that is. But yeah, I think it was a great pickup. The fact that the Pirates couldn't trade him, probably should, make us, a little cautious. Like, he's clearly not, going to save our bullpen. But I do think he is a solid pitcher, and I think he's someone the Pirates liked and would have wanted, and probably a lot of other teams would have liked and wanted. The Reds were just probably fortunate to pick him up.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, we're going to bring Max on real quick. Max, what's up, man? Thanks for joining.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you?
What's up, Max?
Good. You're in the chat every week. I'm glad you're finally joining Joe stepping up.
So I have a question that's a little bit down the road, but while we're on like the trade stuff, what do you guys think? Where do you guys think the Reds will be around the trade deadline? Because I think if they sell, they've got some good pieces to deal. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm looking at the schedule right now. Thank God for the Reds and their season ticket calendars they give away at the beginning of the season every year. They got the next couple weeks. Yeah. The next couple weeks they've got the Nats, the Cubs, the Phillies. And so, you have a chance. You got the Rockies. So, they have a favorable schedule coming up to get all these guys back. So, we talked earlier, we kind of see this team kind of hovering around 500. They have a lot of chances up till the deadline where they have a lot of chances to win some games. They got to play the Royals in July. They got the Mets. So this is a team that really can still make a run at it. I know the Twins haven't been super great this year, and they got a couple games with them as well. So I think the schedule kind of can be in the Reds' favor where they can pick up some wins if they get everyone back in time by the deadline.
Yeah, I hope the Reds are buyers at the deadline. If they're not, I'm going to be, very disappointed. I think people thinking about the Reds selling at the deadline, if the Reds do sell at the deadline, probably going to be very disappointed because the Reds selling would be salary dumping. If the Reds traded Nick Castellanos at the deadline, they're going to get nothing in return for him. And not because of Nick Castellanos, just because of how much money he's owed. No one's going to sign him for more money than he's making right now. Same with Moustakas, even Suarez, Akiyama. None of those guys are going to bring anything back. The only players that would really bring anything back massively in return would be Castillo, Malley, or Winker. And I don't think any of us want them traded. Maybe Sonny Gray, but I don't think Sonny Gray is going to bring back this game-changing, piece for you. I think he's going to be a little bit of a salary dump, and you get a couple nice prospects, but he's not going to. Teams just don't give up these massive prospect hauls anymore unless they're getting someone back that has multiple years of control and is a really good talent, and that would be Castillo, Malley, or Winker. So I think. If you really hope they're not trading at the deadline because it's just going to be saving them money, probably, and nothing more.
Yeah, I think that touches it perfectly.
Yeah, and another thing with Castellanos, he has an opt-out at the end of the year, so he can just get out of that contract. And
that's very true.
Teams obviously won't go hard after someone who can just leave.
Yeah. And I doubt. I doubt he opts out. I think does his salary go up next year?
It does.
I think it stays at 16.
Does it stay? I don't see him opting out. If he opts out, then I'm feeling really good about the Reds' chances because that means he's just put up a monster year. Right. I don't see him opting out. If he opts out, I think it's a great thing because I think the Reds are in a really, really good spot. So that's my opinion on the opt-out.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be a good opt-out for him either, even if he does have a good year. He'll probably want to bet on himself after another good year playing at Great American Ballpark.
Well, the Reds would have him for two more. If he doesn't opt out, he's then locked in for two more years.
Then I think he's gone. Yeah, I think he'll opt out then. If he has a good year.
I guess he could, and then, but but he also would then have the qualifying offer attached to him, because if he opts out, the Reds are surely going to qualify offer him.
Yeah.
And then he's going to have a draft pick attached to him. I think if he opts out, I think that the Reds' 2021 season has gone very, very well. Or just really, really weird, But yeah, I would be surprised if he opts out.
Yeah, I think I just looked at it. So Max is right. It stays at 16 for the next 2 years. And then his free agent year, which is 2024, he'll be 32. It goes up to 20 mil. So not substantially huge, bigger amounts that he would get at the end, though. So
Yeah.
Well, cool, Max.
Yeah.
You got anything else first, man? We like I said, we're happy to answer any questions. So
Not at the moment, but you never know. Thanks, good help in my head.
thanks for coming, man. We always appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, so we got a couple questions in the chat, and I do want to touch on a couple of the other things in the outside the Reds in the world of baseball, because I know Carlos loves talking Shohei Ohtani. If you guys see our group text, there's a lot of Ohtani love in there, and it's all cool. We all love him. So Aaron's been pretty active tonight, which we definitely appreciate. Thanks for that, Aaron. He said, if they do get Story, do you think we resign him for $15 million or let him walk? I think it would definitely be a walk situation. That would be a rental. So I think at that point, if you're going to move Trevor Story, you got to figure out what you're going to be comfortable with.
It's hard seeing the Reds, if they acquired Trevor Story, signing him to a long-term deal. I don't see the Reds giving out a contract to a 30-year-old shortstop of his caliber with what he's going to be demanding on the market. I believe Corey Seager is a free agent also. I would almost say he's probably more likely of a target than Story, just because I would imagine he would be a little cheaper, just maybe because of more of his injury history and kind of the risk with him. So I don't know. I don't see any way the Reds are the team that signs Trevor Story to the big deal, just because he's going to get. I would assume he's going to get Francisco Lindor money or close to it, because I think he's better than Lindor.
What?
Right now,
I'm not gonna say Nick's wrong, because he knows way more about that than I do.
Yeah.
But that's surprising to hear.
I mean, he's 2 years older. But I think if you look at the numbers, I mean, we're talking 5.1 wins, 5.9 wins, 2.4 in the short season. I don't know. I mean, he's close.
So get this. You guys will laugh at this because you guys love baseball like I do. So my dad and I, we like text about baseball every day. We just talk about the Reds every day. Just like, what's going on? What's this? What's that? And my dad's really discovered Spot Track lately. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, it's a website where you can literally look up any professional sports contract of any player from any year even. And he texted me early today, and he goes, they're going to need some back-end rotation help after with Mahle and Castillo coming up in their free agency. I was like, yeah, in 3 years. He goes, what did you think about Noah Syndergaard coming to Cincinnati? I'm like, are they going to get a Tommy John discount?
I'll take it.
Yeah, if Noah Syndergaard wants to come be here, I'll take it. I'm happy about it. But not holding my breath on that one.
Reds could probably swing a Naquin for Syndergaard trade right now.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Just because Syndergaard, I think he's back in July or something.
Yeah.
And he's owed some money, so it'd be more like the money exchanging for basically nothing for Naquin, and the Mets are desperate. So if the Reds were willing to take on money, they probably could swing something like that. But they're not going to do that.
No, it would not. So just because for John, he said, how many more starts does Castillo have to right himself and what's going on with Suarez? I know this is a weekly conversation. And I appreciate the question, especially, but I don't think there's a situation where Castillo doesn't start. There's no DFA. There's no he goes to the bullpen. I know how great Antone's been, but Antone's really kind of been the glue of the bullpen like we've talked about. I think Luis Castillo is going to be figuring it out pitching, the first 4 or 5 innings of games. And that's what the Reds are going to go with.
Yeah, last night he was he was Luis Castillo. I mean, he struck out
Yeah, he was
11
good.
batters in 5 innings. He made one mistake. I mean, it's going to happen. But I think if someone really wanted to be concerned with Castillo, which I still wasn't even before yesterday, they would look at the strikeout number. That was the only number that was like the one, oh, whoa, that looks really rough. But, he clearly showed, okay, he can still, miss bats. So, yeah, he's fine. I mean, Suarez, I think he just is what he is. I mean, I think he's going to have some really good weeks. I think he's going to have some bad weeks. But I think by the end of the year, he'll probably have an 800 OPS, which is fine. If he does that on this team with and the other guys stay healthy, hitting ahead of him, that's fine. That'll play. So yeah, I mean, both guys, who you playing over them anyways, Jeff Hoffman's in the rotation. Like,
Right.
Yeah, he is.
Alex Blandino playing every day. I mean, there's just those guys just have to keep playing, and they'll figure it out to an extent at least.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Castillo he looked great last
Yeah,
night.
he was-
That changeup had good depth on it. Fastball had a nice tail. He was vintage Luis, and I mean, whenever he was in consideration for Cy Young, he had outings like that where it was one bad pitch, 3 runs. But now it's almost like a breath of fresh air whenever he does that. And it was still managed to, on that beautiful website of Twitter, to find a lot of hate coming out of last night's outing. Gino, he'll be all right. He's like Nick said, he's going to have his good weeks, going to have his bad weeks. He's going to get real streaky. He reminds me a lot of Jay Bruce, because Jay used to get super streaky or super hot, super cold, and I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we all were hoping that Luis could be more of a 900 OPS and play stellar third base D, but I don't know. We're stuck with the cards that we have dealt, and I mean, he's coming around. I think he's going to be fine. I guess if I had to put a worry on one of the two, it would be him a little bit more than Castillo, because he does feel the pressure of it, and then he's having to play shortstop, sometimes. So he's got a lot on his plate right now. But again, just to keep rumbling on, but he's going to be all right.
Corey
Yeah, I'm
Kluber
looking
threw a no-hitter.
Did he
What?
throw a no-hitter?
Corey Kluber threw a no-hitter for the Yankees, yeah.
Oh my God, I don't even have it on. There's just so many no-hitters. I honestly, they don't do it for me anymore. Like, Wade Miley's was cool, obviously, because he plays for the Reds, but unless it's a perfect game, it doesn't do much for me anymore.
I could not believe that Corey Kluber had the career that he's had, because I played with him in, I think it was in 09 down here in San Antonio with the Missions, and he was rocking like a 5 ERA in the Texas League, which is hard to do. And I mean, I was like, why is this guy getting hit so hard? His fastball's got great life and his curveball's nasty, but I mean, every hit that they had was just squared up. Couldn't figure it out. And then, several years down the road, he's winning Cy Young. So
That's crazy.
Yeah. He literally almost carried the Indians to a World Series. I mean, like, literally, like, he made like 6 starts in the playoffs that year that were just all unbelievable until that Game 7.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this. Let me get your thoughts on this. Because, Carlos brought up how Twitter finds a way to scrutinize everything, and obviously it's basically what the website was built for, is what it seems at times.
yeah,
So the Reds were definitely had the benefit of 2 outstanding defensive plays in Colorado this past weekend. We saw, Shogo's crazy, catch he had in center field and Coors in the 9th. And then, of course, Sunday they went on that incredible double play. Both of those times, TJ Antone's on the mound. If those plays don't go the Reds' way, if that ball drops in the outfield and the Rockies get the game-winning run, and then those guys score from that double play, are we talking bad about Antone the same way our Luis right now on Twitter?
no. I don't think so.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it past it, though.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect anymore. That's a good point. Yeah. Ugh. Was the Sunday game, was that in extra innings?
It was, yeah.
Okay. So I guess that's maybe a little bit different just because, like I don't think the run that would have scored would have been earned. So I guess he probably gets a little bit of a pass on that. But yeah, I mean, the Shogo one, that ball was destroyed.
That catch was real.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's so much luck involved in baseball. People don't like to admit it, but there's so much luck. Whether you're hitting rockets or you're getting, dinks and dunkers, or, you have a season where you're blessed with health, or you're not blessed with health, or you play the Giants when they have the best record in baseball, or you play the Giants in September when they're not the Giants that we see right now. There's just a lot of luck involved, and that's why it's nice to have 162 games as opposed to 60, because that's just, as you saw last year, baseball's not built for a 60-game season. And you hope some of these things will swing back in the Reds' favor, and you just have to hope they do.
Yeah, and I know I've brought up, like we said, we don't intend to be broken records, but the Nationals that won the title in the last full season in baseball at the end of May, they were terrible. They won the World Series that year, so it's definitely possible. I mean, they had 2 long losing streaks early in the season and still pulled something off. So, we can't count them out just yet. And yes, Aaron, I agree. The Reds do have some of the best fans in the game and also some of the scariest, most bipolar. Yes.
That's a great take.
Look at Nicholas P. Kirby mentions right now, and you'll see all the craziness.
I just saw that 6 no-hitters this year, 2 against 3 teams: Cleveland, Seattle, and Texas.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Cleveland, Seattle's weird because, so I kind of followed them pretty closely just because I really like, some of my favorite players ever played for them. So they have, these outfielders. Kalenic's up now. Kyle Lewis has been, was Rookie of the Year last year. But it's they can just never consistently get hits. And they'll, win games at times where it's oh, shit, how'd they win that game? But when you watch them play, you're why don't these guys win more? Because they have those 2, and they have one more prospect coming up. It's the 2 guys with Kalenic and this guy are supposed to be better than Lewis. So, once again, I know people are saying, watch out, the Mariners are going to be good in 5 years, and they probably won't be. They're the team I don't understand why they're bad, though, because they are Seattle's a big market. It's not like they're a small market team.
They have really, really, really bad ownership, and they have made just some bizarre moves throughout the year. It's like that Robinson Cano signing.
Yeah.
They've just, money's great, but you have to be able to spend it well, because it runs out for every team. Some teams runs out faster than others, but it runs out.
Yeah. Yeah, because remember Ichiro was you guys can trade me. Let's just get more money on the books.
Send me to Miami.
Yeah, that was cool. That was the one time I got to see Ichiro play in person. I know it was when he played for the Marlins, and he's one of my all-time favorite players. So being able to I was pretty close to the field, and I was this is pretty neat. Definitely past his prime Ichiro, but still pretty cool.
Pretty cool. You got to see the Hit King live. That's awesome.
I know. I see ducks. All right, so we got about 15 minutes left of show. You guys want to talk about Ohtani, or you want to talk about Tony La Russa's dumb takes?
Depends on what kind of mood you want to be.
La Russa, let's go. Let's go down with the ship tonight. Reds have lost 3 in a row. Come on.
Keep it going?
Yeah.
All right. So, Carlos, we generally go to you for these things because you've experienced the Major League clubhouse, obviously. You've played pro baseball for a long time. You've been around everything there can be. How do you think a clubhouse, let alone a young team like the White Sox, they're good. They're young dudes on that team. I know they're hurt. A lot of their really good players are hurt right now, but they're still winning. How do you think a team would really react if their manager was saying that there was consequences for your actions for basically like not playing old man baseball anymore.
They're definitely not happy. You've seen a couple of comments. Lance Lynn, and I think Tim Anderson said something as well. He doesn't have that locker room. Like, they're winning in spite of him. I know that's what people want to say. The old heads are saying, well, he's got them in first place. No, he doesn't. He makes the lineup, and those guys have themselves in first place. He's an American League manager. He doesn't have to do much but make bullpen decisions. And I'm sure there's somebody telling him who to pick, who to put in the game. It's just such a tired philosophy for him to be thinking like that, to make it public. That's so bad. For Lance Lynn to come out and say something like that, a veteran, that just shows you right there that the locker room is gone. Because if we had the locker room, they were a tight-knit group, they'd be like keeping it in-house. But he's talking through the media, through even his own team. Like, Tony La Russa, he's got to go. It'd be funny. I wonder how many managers have been fired in first place, but I would like for him to be added to the list.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he just fits like that, organization, that fan. He might, because Jerry Reinsdorf owns the team. The Bulls haven't been good for many reasons since 1998 because Jerry Reinsdorf doesn't want them to be good, and the White Sox are good right now in spite of, like I said, of La Russa and probably Reinsdorf. They just got lucky with a lot of prospects and end up being really good, like Lou Bob, and I know he's hurt right now, but yeah, it's just. I think the other thing too is I think it was cool, guys like Alex Wood, Trevor Bauer, they were like, all right, the guy hit a bomb off you, don't throw a 3-0 pitch, don't Alex Wood being like, how hard it is at a 45-mile-an-hour pitch over the wall like that? It's pretty difficult.
Yeah, respect the game with a position player throwing 40 miles an hour. Come on.
Right.
Get off my lawn. It's just, I don't know. La Russa, it's just so weird. The White Sox have, this really fun, young team with a lot of, energy and passion. And then you have Tony La Russa managing them. I don't get that at all. And yeah, I hope he does get fired.
Because did you see the whole? I guess whenever they traveled, I don't know if it was yesterday or today, they all dressed up like how Mercedes usually dresses up, just wild, and for the team flight. Did y'all see that?
No.
Yeah, the whole team dressed up like him. And that tells you right there. They're like, hell yeah, we got your back. Fuck you, Tony La Russa. Tony La Russa's not in that photo.
Yeah. Well, and for all the hate that David Bell gets tonight, you wouldn't see that on his team. David Bell's out there trying to strangle Clint Hurdle when his guy gets hit by a pitch. And I think the players like playing for David Bell.
I do too.
How much that means, it's open to debate. I don't know, but I think it's better than not. I don't think you want a guy that your team doesn't want to play for. Like Carlos was saying, the White Sox are winning in spite of him. But let's say the White Sox, just went through a disaster stretch and the season kind of started to get away from them. I think, and I could be wrong, Carlos, please correct me if I am. I think it's easier to quit on a guy like Tony La Russa than a guy like David Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see what you're saying with that, but these guys are professionals and they know they're going to get paid on what they do at the plate or on the mound. So for them to totally quit or anything like that, it's kind of a reach to say at this level. But they can certainly, not talk to them, or it'll just be awkward.
Maybe get into some bad habits. Maybe that's a better way of saying it.
Yeah.
Well,
like you said, he comes to take the ball from you on the mound. You roll your eyes, start showing disrespect and stuff like that. That can definitely happen.
Yeah, kind of basketball this year.
Yeah, kind of like a side story that kind of goes with that. I won't get into too many details, but we Red Leg Nation got to meet with the Reds assistant GM Sam. I think he said his last name Grossman, and he had a really cool question and answer with us. And this was back in 2018 when Jim Riggleman was the manager, and he kind of hinted at Like, yeah, we want certain guys to be playing, but we don't demand the manager play certain guys because we don't want them to. His words were get into bad habits because they think they're all just robots and we're playing out the season and things like that. So I do think there is some.
That's not true.
So.
They definitely say who to play.
Well, no, and I'm talking more along. I won't say the. I'll protect the integrity of the conversation. I won't say the player that they were specifically talking about, but there was one player that kept getting playing time that seemed kind of weird, and basically they said, "Yeah, we don't really want him playing, but we also that's kind of that's something we just came on." And this was kind of one of those situations where, if it was this year, it'd be maybe. You'd say, well, we want Aristides Aquino playing over Tyler Naquin or something like that, where it's not really going to make or break, something of that type nature at the beginning of the year. So I don't know. It's just kind of interesting to hear that perspective, and that they are worried. They at least management is worried about players getting into bad habits if the season kind of snowballs on you. Maybe not quitting necessarily because everyone's playing for their contract and some to stay in the major leagues, but they are worried about that kind of stuff.
Sidebar question, Nick, real quick: would you trade Tyler Naquin for Ohtani straight up?
No chance. We haven't. Tyler Naquin hasn't even got a chance to pitch yet. I mean, we don't know what he has.
That's true. We know what Alex Bangino has on the mound.
Yeah.
So, yes, Nick, I do appreciate that you brought that up because we all know it was Cliff Pennington. You don't have to tell us to worry about it. I'm kidding. So. Yes, like Carlos said, everyone in baseball is obviously paying attention to Ohtani, and I think it's the best thing for baseball. But here's the funny thing about it. I might have sent this to you guys. There's that meme going around where it's every time I see Angels highlight, it's Shohei Ohtani does something amazing, and Mike Trout lifts his batting average to .530, but they lost 8-3. It feels like that's what the Angels are right now.
God almighty.
Baseball's a team game, man. You have to have a full 26-man roster. You can't. We talked about earlier in the year, you can't have Kyle Farmer playing third base 5 times in a row. Right. It's a full team game. Doesn't matter how good Winker and Castellanos are. You have to have depth in your lineup, and then depth beyond your lineup when you have guys go down with injury. It's unlike any other game where depth is just so crazy important.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, I was, the last couple of days, everybody's just blowing up talking about Twitter. Everybody's been pretty positive. I don't know the Angels community, but baseball, our local radio show that, I listen to, these guys, they hardly ever talk baseball. And they're talking baseball about Ohtani and how great it is and this and that. And then this morning, I see this clip of Stephen A. Smith. I'm complaining about he's hitting 277 or whatever he said. I'm oh my gosh. Everybody hates ESPN, but they're still the mothership, and their stuff gets out everywhere. That does nothing good for the game. Why? I just don't understand hating on it.
Yeah, that's. I actually had First Take on today a little bit. Just kind of, I wasn't really paying attention, but I just had it on the TV, and I did not see them cover the no hitter from yesterday. They didn't even mention it on First Take, but they were talking about Ohtani, and they were talking about the La Russa saga. So yeah, I guess it's whatever gets people talking about baseball. I guess good or bad.
It's good to see Johnny Bench
join us.
Do what?
This is why we need Roflo to come on. He's been in the locker room chat before with us.
He popped in, popped right out. He was like, "Nope, not for me."
Heard my voice, was like, "I'm out." But yeah, I saw that too. Or Johnny Bench was on Dan Patrick today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was glad that he said, "Yeah, I'd probably swing."
Dude, it's so So I listen to Jim Day's pod every so often, just like when he's got like someone I'm like, oh, that guest is interesting. I'll listen to them. Like he had Dunner on a couple weeks ago, and that was really good. He like aired this one interview he did on TV on there recently with like Lou Piniella, and I expected Lou to just be like old man baseball like we talked about, but he was like he's like I love Joey Votto. He's like when he's like arguing with an umpire for balls and strikes, chances are I'm going with Joey on that. He's like he knows the strike zone better than most of those guys. And he was like super like he's like I'm not anti sabermetrics. I think it's really good to have that advanced knowledge. And I was like, what the hell's going on right now?
Bring him back.
Yeah. I think he was like an assistant. He was working for the Reds front office in some weird role. It's probably just like ambassador or something. But
assistant to the regional manager.
Yeah, assistant to the regional manager. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we get out of here?
Just it's a long season. Stay patient. Let's get these guys back healthy. Where you're going to have weeks where you feel terrible about the Reds. You're going to have weeks you feel great about the Reds this year, and it'll probably swing back and forth until it's decided one way or the other in September. So stay patient. It's a grind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, next week, as we know, I will not be here. I will be on my honeymoon. So I look forward to this week's text messages of Nick and Carlos fighting over who will not host next week. But it'll be – I can't wait to hear what you guys do. I always appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who, it was cool to get some conversations in here with Max and Sam. Thank you guys for joining us and, bringing us some conversations. Everyone in the chat, thank you guys for being involved. It's awesome. I wish it wasn't the Reds struggling to get everyone to join us, but hopefully when they're winning, you guys will be back too. So we'll be here, every Wednesday here on Locker Room. You check us out on Spotify, and like I said, we're on Twitter now. Give us a follow at Late Reds, and everyone have a good night. Thanks for joining.